Hi, welcome back to Drunken Aunt Wendy, and this is Drunken Aunt Wendy Crochets. I also have a separate YouTube channel where I do painting tutorials, so if you want to learn how to watercolor paint or just paint along with me, you're more than welcome to check that one out. Today we're going to go a little old school. We're going to do something pop culture, but kind of silly and fun. It's the green pig from the Angry Birds. I don't know if anybody remembers playing that game. I know it was a huge obsession for a while. And at one point in time, I was making all of the animals from Angry Birds. This is one of my older patterns. We're going to walk through it. Gauge is not important for this project unless you've purchased one of my kits. Then you need to make sure you use the right size hooks so you don't run out of yarn, because my yarn's calculated in the kits by how much having trouble with words today. I don't know why. Okay. So the yarn in the kit is calculated by a specific hook size for the stitches. So each stitch takes a certain amount of yarn. Therefore, I count the number of stitches and provide enough yarn depending on your hook size. There's always extra, but that's what's going on. So we have, again, I really like this Brava Sport Weight yarn from Knit Picks. No, they don't give me any money for this, but this is what I like. So we have white, black, and this one is Peapod. I will verify that, but I'm pretty sure this is Peapod, but I've lost the label. You're gonna need a size E crochet hook to do it the way I do. Use whatever size you want though. And a large eye needle. Now you can do this with teeny tiny crochet thread and a teeny tiny hook and make a teeny tiny one. You can do this with the plush yarn or the velvet yarn and make a giant one. It's whatever makes you happy. You'll also want a stitch marker. I used a scrap piece of yarn. This is leftover from one of my last projects. And we'll go ahead and get started. There's just a few pieces to this. You're gonna make your body. You're gonna make the nose or the snout, the ears, the tail, and the eyes, and then you're gonna embroider on a bunch of details. So it's not a whole lot of yarn. It should be a fairly quick project. For this project, we're gonna start with the facial features and the extra pieces so that we can sew them on before we stuff it. So you can tie off the stuff on the inside. This is just a method that some people like to do. It's your call whether you want to do it or not. So we're going to start with the snout. And the snout, we're going to do it in the green. And then there'll be some black in a second because we're going to embroider on the nostrils. So we're going to chain 2. And again, if you followed along with me before, I have no problem if you use a magic ring. I just don't like to. So use a magic ring if you want. 6 single crochet in the second chain from hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull up, count, just count first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's all there. Pull your hole closed just by pulling your slip stitch. Now you're going to increase in each stitch. Which is 2 stitches per stitch. So 1, 2. 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, and 6, 2. So now you have the base of your snout. Now you should have 12 stitches. Next round, we are going to crochet in the back loops only. So you have your front loops. I'm gonna grab the needle so I can show you. This is your front loop. This is your back loop. And I like to use the back loop so now it'll bend and it'll give me the shape that I want. So it's just a single crochet row in the back loops. Probably don't need a stitch marker for this, but I'm going to do it just for consistency's sake. So 12 stitches in that back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. As you can see, it starts to fold it. So now you have just a nice fold. So the snout goes towards the body. Okay, so then round 4, and this is the last round of the snout. So the pieces are really quick. You're going to single crochet in both loops all the way around for 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we are done with at least the crochet portion of the snout. So we're going to take that out. We're going to cut. We're going to leave a long tail for sewing. Usually, if you're not sure how long, it needs to be at least 3 times the circumference of the piece that you're going to sew on. But I just like to make it big. It's no big deal. You shouldn't be that. If you're playing yarn chicken, I understand. But if you're not, just give yourself a lot of extra yarn. It's so much easier to sew it on when it's still attached. Then you're going to do a slip stitch. Pull it all the way through, and you've fastened off. And now you have your snout. Now there's a little bit of a seam where we switched to BLOs. So I'm going to turn that and have that be the bottom of the snout. I'm going to grab a length of the black yarn. It doesn't need to be too much. We're going to embroider a couple of nostrils onto this. So thread your black yarn onto your large eye needle. Now, with the Angry Birds pigs, one nostril is bigger than the other. So I'm going to start with the big one. So I'm going to go down pretty much all the way right before the back loop only. And I'm leaving this free in the back so I can just tie it off. And I'm going to go all the way up here. I'm just doing a straight stitch. Okay, now I want that to be pretty prevalent, so I'm going to do it a second time, just through the same 2. So now we have the big nostril. So the smaller nostril, I'm going to go over and I'm going to make it shorter. It's only going to go over a couple of stitches. And again, this is your project, so if you'd like to make them even, you can. I just like the idea of the one big and the one little, especially if it's intentional. So I did that one twice too. So there we have our little nostril. I'm going to turn it kind of inside out for a second and take the black yarn and tie it in a knot. I just use a square knot, which is like tying your shoes. And then the other way. And this should keep it nice and secure inside your face so that those little threads won't come out. So then you just snip it. And you have one completed snout. I'm going to set this over here to the side. I'm going to leave the black yarn on the needle because I've got some embroidery to do on the ears and also on the eyes. And this should probably be enough black yarn. We aren't crocheting with it. We just needed it to sew. So if you have like a yard of black yarn, you probably have more than enough. I'm going to set that over there. Okay, now we're going to make the ears. You're going to need to make 2 of them. I'll make one of them on camera with you, and then you need to make, and then I'll make the second one off camera. And that's how we do that. So we're going to make 2 ears. Again, I start with a slip knot. Doop, in the green. And I am going to do chain 2. Again, you can use the magic ring. Now you're going to single crochet 4 in the second chain from hook. Let's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's your first round of the ear. Okay, in the second round, you're going to increase in each stitch. So there's 4 stitches. So you're going to do 2 stitches in each stitch. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, now we're going to move on to rounds 3 and 4. So we're going to do 2 rows of single crochet. So I'm grabbing my stitch marker, which I use a scrap piece of yarn. You can use a plastic stitch marker, whichever makes you happy. And you're just going to single crochet around for 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then do it one more time. When I'm doing multiple rows of the same color, I like to go back and forth with my stitch marker so I can count instead of pulling it out each time so that I know where I'm at. Okay, so you just finished rounds 3 and 4. So now we're going to do round 5, which is a decrease and 2 single crochet 2 times. So you're going to decrease, which is crochet 2 together, single crochet 1, 2, then decrease, single crochet 1, 2. That finished round 5. So that will give you 6 stitches. Now you're going to go on to round 6, which is a single crochet row. So just 1 stitch in each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I want to get my stitch marker out. I want to crochet this opening right here. This opening. I want to crochet it together to close it. So I'm going to stuff my little tail in from when I started. And there's 6 stitches. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go through the first one and then the stitch on the other side and single crochet this opening together. So there'll be 6 stitches, 3 stitches. So 1 and then the next one, 2 and then 3 on that last one. And then you have this nice fun little ear shape. Again, you're going to cut it, fasten off, just pull it through. And you have, because these don't have real pig ears, they have like these weird pointy ears. So Angry Birds pigs have weird ears. Now they also have black on the inside of the ears, so you grab your black yarn that you already have and you're just going to embroider kind of like a half moon shape. I'm going to tuck that up all the way in. There we go. So it secures itself. Go back in. Make sure you don't do that. There we go. And we're just going to make this shape go all the way across, and it's the inside of the ears. And you want to do this for both of your little pigs, or both of your little ears. I'm getting the bases of it down first, and then if there's some spot that I don't feel is completely covered, I will cover it back up in just a second. I just want to lay them nice against each other. This is just, again, it's a straight stitch. Try to make sure you're going into it so you don't have this on both sides. And the sharper your needle is, the easier this is, so that you can poke through, so you don't have to just go to where you have openings from the stitches. Okay, I like that. There's a little bit of extra space right there, so I'm going to go up over there to kind of get rid of that. I'm going to try. Pop it right there. Pop that in. And then I'm going to stick it just out through the top. It should stay in place. Okay. There you have your little ear. When you sew this down, that'll help tack that down. So I'm going to cut this. Shove a little piece of black back in there. All right, so there you have an ear. You'll need to make one more of those. We're going to move on to the tail, just so I can keep with the green, and then we'll do the eyes real quick. So with the tail, you're going to just, again in the green, do your slip stitch, chain 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, now you're going to single crochet in each stitch across, starting now you're going to single crochet in each stitch across, preferably in these little bumpies, starting in the second chain from hook. That's 1, And then there'll be 14 more. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, oops, split the yarn, 12, 13, and 14. And once again, we're going to leave a long tail for sewing. Fasten this off. And then I like to just wrap it around my finger. Typically my pinky works better because it's my smallest finger. So wrap it around your pinky. And if you have spray starch, you can spray starch it on there. But then that'll give you your little twisty pigtail. It's super cute. All right. Next up are the eyes. You need the white yarn. You're again gonna make 2 of these. Start with your slip stitch or slip knot, put your hook in, and these are also going to be a slight oval. So we're going to start with a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Starting in the second chain from the hook, you're going to single crochet, single crochet in the next one, 3 single crochet in the last stitch, 1, 2, 3, pull up your hole, and then turn it over to the other side and work down the other side of the starting chain. You're going to do 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and then in this little loop part that we started, I'm going to do 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Okay, grab your stitch marker. Now we're going to move on to round 2 of the eye. You're going to do 2 single crochet, single crochet, 1, 2. You're going to increase in the next 3 stitches. So you're going to do 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 2 single crochet, 1, 2, and now you're going to increase in the last 3 stitches, 1, 2, 2, 2, and 3, 2. Okay, and then you have like just this small little oval shape. Remove your stitch marker and cut your yarn so you can sew it on. Take a slip stitch to the next stitch just to make this a cleaner edge. Okay, now you're going to do the pupils, and for the angry birds, their eyes are kind of, picture this as your round face. Eyes are kind of sideways. They're not straight up and down. You want it sideways, and then the pupil is really just a slash. So we're gonna do this quite similar to the way we did the nostrils. I'm going to come in here, leave enough so that I can tie. Then I'm going to come over just past the starting and do a slash. And I'm going to do a second time with that. Now, because this is an oval, this is one side, you want to make sure when you do the other side, the slash goes the other way, so that, because you can't just flip it over, it won't work. You want like the mirror image. So when you do your second eye, start here and go up so that they match, okay? So snip this off, tie this off, and meet me back here when you've finished all of the facial features. Then we'll start working on the body. One eyeball, do. And in this situation, instead of doing a chain 2 and a circle increase, we're gonna do an oval increase. So we're gonna chain 5. So I made my slip knot and I'm gonna chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're gonna start round 1. So we are going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then 2 more single crochets. 1, 2. And if you notice, I like to always try to make sure I'm using this bumpy part so I have a nice even line on the back, and that'll be important in just a second. So the next up, you're gonna do 3 single crochet in this last stitch. So you're gonna do 1, 2, and 3. Pull that up a little tight. Now we're gonna go down the other side, okay? We're gonna do 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Now when we started, we got this little like loop thing right here. And that's what we're gonna do our 3 single crochets into to end this round. And if you can only do it on one side, that's fine. So 1, 2, and 3. Now that creates the beginning of your oval. So we're going to do an oval increase to get it to the size that we want, and then we're going to decrease it down with irregular decreases. So I take my stitch marker and I put it on, and we have just finished round 1. So for round 2, we're going to do 3 single crochet, increase 3 times on the edge, and then repeat it. So if you want to do it with me, it is 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to increase, and if you don't know how to do an increase, it is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So you're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm going to throw that out of the way. I really need to get a yarn bowl. 1, 2. Okay, and then you just repeat that a second time to finish it. So all your increases are going to be on these edges here, and you're going to do a straight 3 single crochet each round to take care of that. So 1, 2, 3, and then increase 3 times till you get back to your stitch marker. 1, 2, 2, 2, and 3, 2. At the end of this round, you should have 18 stitches. Move your stitch marker. And we're going to go to round 3, which is 3 single crochet, and then you're going to do a single crochet and an increase 3 times on the edge. Then you're going to repeat that whole section one more time. So let's go through it. It's 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, then single crochet, increase, single crochet, this is the second time, and increase, and then single crochet, increase. And that puts us back to the 3 single crochet and then single crochet increase 3 times around. Okay, so that finishes round 3, and that's going to give you 24 stitches. Now, if you don't want to have to count and you want to mark every time, like, so you have your 3 single crochet and then you put a stitch marker here, so you know that's where you do your increases. You put a stitch marker where you do the 3 single crochets and then another one. You're welcome to do that. I just do the 1 stitch marker because that makes me happier. And also, if you want a written version of this pattern, you can get that from either my website or my Etsy shop, and it'll be a PDF and it'll have all of these step-by-step instructions, so you don't have to listen as closely if you don't want to. Okay, so now we're going to round 4. It is 3 single crochet, and then you're going to single crochet, increase, single crochet 3 times on your end. Then you're going to repeat that again. So you're going to do the 3 single crochet, then single crochet, increase, single crochet 3 times. We'll do it together. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to do a single crochet, an increase, 1, 2, a single crochet. And that's your first one. You're going to do a second single crochet, increase, single crochet. That's your second. You're going to do a third one. Single crochet, increase, single crochet. And you're going to repeat that from here to here for the other half of your oval. So as you can see, you're getting a nice kind of squat oval. If you start your starting chain with more, you can have a longer oval. I typically tend to do my starting chain in the appropriate count so that I have multiples of 6 when I go all the way around. So after the end of round 4, you should have 30 stitches. Now we're going to do round 5, which is 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to increase on the edge. So that's 3 single crochet, increase 3 times. Single crochet, 2, 3, and then increase, which is 2 stitches. Repeat that for 2, 2, 3, increase, and repeat that 3, 2, 3, increase. Once again, you're going to do this section to this section one more time to finish the round. And that just finished round 5. You should have 36 stitches. We're going to go on to round 6. We're going to pause here because there are errors in this pattern. So round 6 is 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to do the increases on the sides. So that is 2 single crochet, increase, 2 single crochet. So 1, 2, increase, 2 single crochet, and you do that 2 more times on this edge. So 2, 2, increase, single crochet for 2, and then 3, 2, increase, 2 single crochet, 1, 2. Now once again, you're going to repeat this section to this section over this way. So you just finished round 6 and you should have 42 stitches. So round 7, we're gonna do our 3 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna do 5 single crochet, increase 3 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase. And 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase. And then repeat the whole thing one more time. After you finish that row, you should have 48 stitches. And now we're going to do round 8. And this is our last increase row. So you're going to do 3 single crochet. And you're going to do your increases. And that's going to be 3 single crochet, increase, 3 single crochet, 3 times. 1, 2, 3, increase. 1, 2, 3. So do that 2 more times. And then just repeat from here to here for the other half of this oval. Okay, and then you have finished with the increase section. And the next step is going to be rounds 9 through 20. You're going to do 12 rows of single crochet. Since everybody should know how to single crochet at this point, I'm not going to do it along with you. We'll just meet back here after we've finished 12 rows of single crochet. We are back and we have done 12 rows of single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So now we're going to decrease for a little bit, and then we're going to sew on all of the features, and we'll learn how to attach them in the inside. And this yarn ran out, so I'll show you how to attach a new piece of yarn in the middle of your project so you don't have to worry about running out. Set that off to the side for now. So we are on round 21. Put in our stitch marker. We are going to decrease and 7 single crochet. So you're going to decrease, 7 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if you've done some of my other projects, you'll know that you just repeat that around 6 times to decrease down to close this out. So we're going to do the next one, and I'll attach the yarn, and then we'll meet back at the stitch marker. So we're going to decrease, and we've only got that much left. So let's just go ahead and get the other piece of yarn and just start crocheting with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you could have just crocheted over it, but since this is going to get stuffed and nobody's going to see the inside, I just like to go back in, tie a square knot, and then it is secured, and that's not going anywhere, and you can just tuck it inside your project and you don't have to worry about it. So we'll meet back at the stitch marker. Right, so that was your first decrease row. That was round 21. You should have 48 stitches when you finish that round. Now we're going to go to round 22, which is a decrease, 6 single crochet. So we're going to decrease, 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Repeat that 5 more times and we'll meet back at the stitch marker. That should have finished round 22. You should have 42 stitches. Let's do one more decrease row and then we'll start sewing on all the pieces. So you're going to decrease for round 23 and you're going to do 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now repeat that 5 more times. Okay, we have finished round 23. You should have 36 stitches left. I pull the loop up and pull out the hook so it's not in the way when I'm going to sew things on. When you do something in an oval, there's a long side and a short side. We're going to sew the facial features on the long side. So what I usually do is just fold it in half so I can have an idea of where the center is going to be, so I can get an idea of how I would like to put the facial features on. So we have our ears, our tail, our nose, and our eyes. Oh, I like to put the nose on first so I can kind of base everything else around that. Also, if you don't want to put this on now, you want to wait till after you've stuffed it, that's perfectly fine. We're just trying a different method so everybody can play with what they like and figure out what works best for them. So I really don't do a lot of pinning. I'm gonna kind of eyeball this right here. I like the way that looks. I'm gonna thread my needle. And I have 2 large eye needles for this project because I've just left the black staying on a needle. So this is where I want it. And because I haven't stuffed everything yet, I can make sure the stitches go into our little guy and really secure it on there. The biggest thing is you want to make sure your nostrils are pointing the way that you want them to point. You try not to sew in your fingers. This is also a nice method because it hides a lot of your stitch work and your sewing. So I make sure I grab each one of the stitches around and secure it in. You want to tuck all your tails in there, and before we finish this completely off, we'll throw a little bit of stuffing in to give it a nice shape. I keep checking to make sure I have enough room to stick my finger in there so I can stuff it. Okay, I think we should stop here. And I just use Polyfiberfill. You can use anything you want for your stuffing, but this is what I think tends to work best. This is all I've got and might not even use all of it. I'm just going to use my finger and shove that up into that nose. Make sure it goes all the way around. Work it in. Tear off the excess. Get that all up in there. Then you have a nice stuffed little nose. Throw that in the pile. And continue sewing on to close it the rest of the way up. So that's nice and secured on there, and we've got a nice bit of tail left. So what I do is just turn it inside out. I find another piece of string that's already in here. And I tie them together. You don't have to tie them super tight. If you do, you're going to get weird pulls. So just gently tie it, but just do a double knot, double square knot, and then that's not going anywhere. You can cut the extra if you want, or you can just leave it inside for when you stuff. And you turn it back right side out. Stuff all your junk in there. And I'm going to fold it back in half. Try to make sure that original oval is in the center. And I'm going to put on my eyes. Now, I had made sure I did one each way. We're going to lay these out and see if we like them. Just right above the snout, give yourself a little bit of space. Also pay attention to what you're doing, because that was the bottom. This is the top. I don't know why I was doing them upside down. And that makes a huge difference on how it would look. Okay, so I like the way they're placed. So once again, just going to thread the white that I left extra onto my needle. And I'm going to just sew this down. I know there's all this extra string. Usually what you can do is tuck it under there. It'll give it a little bit of a bulge, but it secures all your ends in there. Oh, I'm doing these at a slight angle. We're almost all the way around, so you want to tuck in all your little stuff. Just gives it a little bit of an eyeball bulge, which I like. If you don't like that, you can pull those strings through and tie them off inside. You can snip them. Sometimes you lose your thread, just put it right back on. Then you're going to do the same thing. Take your white yarn in and tie it off to a string that's inside. Remember, these just need to be tied tight so that the knot doesn't unravel, but not so tight that you warp the shape of your critter. And make sure you turn it back around so you're looking at it right side up so you don't make the same mistake that I had just made. Okay, now I'm going to sew on the other eye. And I'll meet you back here when that's done. Then we'll add eyebrows, ears, and then the tail. I guess I should tell you, you kind of want to make sure they line up. So this one ends at that line. So I just kind of draw a fingernail over to make sure they're right at about the same spot so he doesn't have wonky eyes. We appear to have about 2 stitches over, so we're going to do 2 stitches over. Hold it in place and start stitching. You can also pin these in place. It's whatever works for you. The faces really do make your amigurumi. So if you're having trouble with your faces, pin them on first until you get them looking the way that you like them. And some people prefer to do this after they've stuffed it because you have a better idea what everything's going to look like. It is your prerogative. This is an easier way to secure all your ends and make sure they're not going to pop back out if you stuff them inside. I apologize for the very loud truck that just went by. I wanted everybody to know it was on the street. Inside we go. Tie it off. Back out. Right side up. I still have my black yarn on my needle. We're going to give him a couple of eyebrows. We want this pig to be a little bit more surprised and less angry. If you want him really angry, you can go in like this. But I want him to be a little bit more surprised, like, oh my God, I can't believe they hit me with that bird. I did it that way so I could see the angle. And I'm going to pull the tail in so I can tie it off. Go back through. And I think I only want single eyebrows today. Yep, just a little single eyebrow. That works great. And I've already got it on here. I'm getting everything tangled. This happens sometimes. Just go with it. There we go. And we want to make it match, so you want to have it in the same row. So put your little needle through and run it across. It's at the corner edge of the eye. Pull it up. Again, don't pull these too tight because you're going to pull them tight inside. And then just give them a little eyebrow. Eyebrows are sisters, not twins. So if they're not completely the same, that's okay. It gives you a little bit of character. Turn it inside out. Give it a little tie here, again loosely. Because there's just a lot of black yarn and I don't want to fiddle with all that. I'm going to cut that. It's already been tied off. All right. I'm going to smash him in half again. He's smashed. All right, so we have our eyebrows, our eyes, and now he needs his ears. So I want the ears at the very top of the head. I'm going to use that first row as kind of a guideline. Put them just a little bit outside. Above the eyebrows is looking like a good spot for this. So thread one on. If you have a needle threader, sometimes that makes it a lot easier. I don't have one. So his ears are just a little bit out. And I'm just going to start sewing them on. My ears get played with a lot, so I'm going to do it a couple of times. I'm going to go across and then I'll go back across. And if you wanted to modify this to like a beanie hat, you just need to make this base part bigger. And you'd have a fun little Angry Birds hat. I understand Angry Birds was popular years and years and years ago, but I still enjoy them. Every once in a while I will still play. So I'm going through that single crochet row where I crocheted the ears closed. I'm putting it through. Now I'm going to go back across to make sure they're nice and secure. I'm going to tuck the tail inside, and I'm going to wait as I'm going to tie the two ears together. So there's the first one. He's really cute. He's really, really cute. Do the second ear. We have that one there. We're going to put this one right about there. Again, eyeball it or be a little bit more meticulous. You can take your fingers around, make sure it's in the same round. The fun thing with the facial features is you probably are going to do it every single time because you are a person and not a robot. So every one of them is just going to look a little bit different, and that's okay. And that's the fun part about it being handmade. And notice I tried to keep it out of the black parts in the center of the ear because I didn't want to dilute the center of my ear. So we went across once. We're going to go back across. Okay, tuck my tail in. Set my needle to the side. Flip him inside out so I can find those two that I just did. Crisscross, tie them. Again, not too tight. There's one more piece to sew on, then we stuff it and close it, and you're all done with this little project. So this is a good, quick beginner project. Okay, so I have him seated up because he's gonna sit like this when we stuff him, and you want the tail to go in the center of the back, not completely underneath, but about right there. Now I'm going to show you the trick that I use for tails because it is just a little two-sided. It's a single crochet row, so it's just some on this side, some on that side. I find the center, and you can fold it too if that's easier for you to find the center. Pop up on one side with my hook, pull the starting one in, pop up on the other side with my hook, pull the other one in, and then tie it. Now this one you want to tie tight so that it doesn't work itself loose and you have a floppy tail. But since it's just over one stitch, it's no big deal. So you just tie that nice and tight. Yeah, my fingers don't want to work. There we go. Tie it, do-do-do. And then tie it again to secure it. Tuck that all in. See that you've got your cute little tail. Twirl it if you want to make it nice and twirly. And now we're going to flip him over. We're going to stuff him and close him. And then we will be done with this project. So I have Polyfiberfill. Put it in. I like to start in the center and push it around. Then I flip him over, kind of see how he's looking. He's looking pretty good. Get a little bit more. You will learn as you do this that you don't want to overstuff, but you don't want to understuff, and it's a very happy medium. So it's really what makes you happy. Okay. Now we are going to move on. We have stuffed our pig. And we're going to move on to round 24, which is a decrease and then 4 single crochet. Decrease, 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat that around 5 more times. That was round 24. You should have 30 stitches left. Now we're going to do a round 25, which is a decrease, 3 single crochet, decrease, 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3. Repeat that around 5 times. Should have 24 stitches left. Now we are going to decrease and 2 single crochet, decrease, 2 single crochet, 1, 2, repeat around. You should have 18 stitches left, and as I'm doing this, I can see that I need a little bit more stuffing. You want to do that before you close the whole thing out. Let's just put a little bit more in there. We want it firmly stuffed. Okay, round 27, which is decrease 1 single crochet. So you're going to decrease and single crochet 1, and you want your tension to be nice and tight during this part. Decrease, single crochet 1, and if you have trouble with that, wrap it around your finger a second time. That'll help you have tighter tension. He needs some yarn or stuffing in his booty. Apparently, it wasn't going that way. His booty needs stuffed. There we go. Now you should have 12 stitches. You are on your last round, which is decrease 6 times. Again, you want tighter tension. Two. 3. 4. 5. And 6. So now you're going to trim your yarn, slip stitch in the next stitch to fasten off. Get your large eye needle, thread it on. Okay. Weave through those last 6 stitches. Pull it up tight, it'll close that hole. Take your tail. I like to push them towards the back just because. Shove it through, pull it up a little, and take it back in and shove it up a little higher. Just so you have a longer tail inside. And snip it. There you have it. One angry bird, pig, one green pig from the Angry Birds. He has got his little tail and his little snout, and he's ready to be defended when the birds are thrown at him. I hope you had a good time. Shoot me a comment. What do you want me to make next?